This week we are joined by Matthew Maderic. Follow along as we talk about his skoolie conversion and where he's at in the build, along with another cool project he's working on.
Hey,
How's it going, Matthew?
good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Oh man, thanks for having me. It's the first time on a podcast. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited. This has been such a journey in the making too, trying to, just figure this whole thing out, how it all works. But I'm so excited to have you joining me today. We got a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you about, a bunch of questions. Before, right off the bat, I see you're wearing the hat. I want to ask you about Before I Die. It seems like a project you're really passionate about, and just want to, hear what you say.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, Before I Die, it's kind of been in the works since the beginning of 2020. I guess it kind of goes along with the whole story of why I actually bought a school bus to renovate in the first time, or in the first place rather. But yeah, so at the beginning of 2020, creatively with my video work and my photography work, as a photographer, I was feeling kind of uninspired. So I kind of was trying to go back to my roots, I guess, of where I started, why I started photography, which was based purely off of the moments I could experience through using a camera and storytelling. So yeah, it was a journey between, I started photography when I was younger, and then it kind of developed, and through 2016 and 17, I was really like enjoying what I was doing. I was doing travel content. And then 2018, I started doing Airbnb photography and videography, which I was really loving at that time too. But then it started to get really repetitive. So throughout all of 2019, that's pretty much all I did.
Okay.
So then, yeah, by the time 2020 started, I was like, man, I'm feeling kind of lost. Like, this isn't what I want to be doing,
Yeah,
my life.
kind of a new creative outlet.
Right, exactly. So I came up with an idea. It actually started as just a video series. I was going to do a video series through 2020, called The Death List, where I kind of like made a list of things I wanted to do before I die. And I don't know, I guess I was kind of jumping the gun on it. So I kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't start it right now. I need to kind of do a few things, get a few things in place first before I do this. So then I'm glad I didn't jump on that, because it developed into Before I Die, which is now a brand that I'm like super passionate to explore and put out to the world, I guess. And yeah. So
I thought it was such a cool concept that right when I saw it, and it was even some as my wife is an artist and a painter, and when I showed it to her, she was just like blown away, like, oh, that's so cool, like such a great idea.
yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm. It's probably one of the first things in a long time that I've been like super excited about, and it is, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, dude, that's so great. I love seeing that. Another thing I want to bring up that I love that you do that I haven't really seen much is your playlist that you create a playlist to put out there for people to join, follow along, listen. I love that idea.
Yeah, man. So music is like one of my biggest inspirations to get creative. So when I started making the bus videos, yeah, obviously like I couldn't monetize or anything. So I was like, why not just use like real music, because a lot of copyright free music just isn't that good. So I said, yeah, I started using just what I would normally listen to while I was like building the bus.
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool.
really, yeah, it was cool. And now I found a couple websites now that are like you pay monthly subscriptions for, because now I'm at a point where I am able to monetize the channel. So I want to be able to do that so I can continue the journey. But yeah, I found two websites that the music's pretty decent too. So
I'm guessing I probably know which one you're talking about, and they do have some pretty good music. So that's good to find some stuff, because I get how that is when you're going through the videos and like you're trying to find the right fit for the mood and style that you're going for and things like that.
right.
So with the bus build, what sparked the idea for you? What was the catalyst for you?
Yeah. So going back again, actually, I guess it would have been end of 2018, beginning of 2019. Um, So I started doing Airbnb photography in the beginning of 2018. I was doing the whole summer and the fall. I was doing shoots for free for these Airbnb owners and property management companies, and then that turned into a business. So early 2019, I want to say like January or February, I was talking to Bella, my girlfriend. Her dad is also into kind of alternative living and whatnot. So he was telling me about someone that he knew who was trying to sell short buses, and it just sparked an idea. I was like, well, I mean, I could build some sort of social media thing off of a school bus. I'm doing that for other people right now, so why can't I just do it myself as well? And then it didn't really materialize into anything at that time, just financial reasons and work reasons. I got booked up really quickly then for the rest of 2019, so I wasn't able to do it. And then 2020 came around and coronavirus happened, and it was one of the top things on my list to buy a bus and renovate it. So I was like, well, now is a great time to do it. I have time, and I have some money saved up. I might as well just do it.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I mean, I totally understand that. That's exactly what me and my wife had decided to do during that, time. I finally had some time off of work. So we had some space in our yard, and we just decided, hey, we have the money, let's build it. We were thinking about renting like an art gallery or something for her to build a studio somewhere else. And we had the room. So we said, well, let's try to just build one in our yard. And
Yeah.
that's what we did. And same thing has, been a great choice to do it like that and have something to kind of get. I mean, for me, I was off work quite a few months. It was, man, that was probably building that for her was probably the only thing that, mentally got me through that time, is just having something to focus on and to try to complete. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love the process. The journey's been so great watching you go through. Do you have any construction experience before this, or were you going into this blind?
Dude, yeah, not at all, really. I mean, I grew up, my dad is pretty handy. My brother is pretty handy, but myself, I mean, I just watched them build a few small things here and there. But myself, yeah, man, I've had like no experience up to just buying it and doing it.
Yeah, that's exactly the what
So,
I was in this year, is I hadn't really ever built anything before. So to take on this project, it was like, I mean, some days it was, you're just trying to look at any YouTube video, anything you could find to help you, along the way. So that's why when, for me, this is such a big purpose, because I've gained so much experience and knowledge from watching other people's channels and the advice and things they're giving out. And it's like, man, I just wanted to find a way to spread that to other people. And so people like you that are, sharing that journey and can help, it just inspires the next person along to say, oh, that's a good idea. You know what? I'll try that. If I've watched somebody else do it, I can at least give it a try. So I love that.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it's not why I started the bus, but it's kind of part of the reason why I started just the creative journey in general, is like I want to be able to inspire other people to kind of think outside of the box, I guess,
Yeah.
and be able to do these things. Yeah, because it's just like I feel like this is really is what life is meant to be, man. It's so much fun to be able to make these experiences.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about it, but one of the big questions I love asking people right now is how has the kind of the chaos of 2020 affected your life, in a good and bad way? Because I've got a lot of um feedback from people on both sides. Some people it's given them time to focus on family and friendships and things like that, and so there's a good, there's a give and take and everything. So how's it been for you?
Right. Yeah. So when coronavirus first started, it was kind of a little bit of a blow, because I was focused at that time still on the Airbnb photography, even though I was kind of losing a little bit of creativity with it. I was still hyper focused on like I got to get these jobs, I got to do what I got to do. So it kind of just shut all of that down really really quickly, because I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, so I'm about 2 hours away from New York City and like 3 hours away from upstate New York, which is where I did a lot of my work. And when coronavirus first started, I mean, still the cases are crazy, but everyone was freaking out about New York. So New York was just like, it wasn't even an option for me to be going up there. So at first, coronavirus definitely, I would say, negatively impacted like my work and whatnot. But then it turned into kind of a blessing in disguise because I had time and I was able to do the bus, and I was able to just kind of think more about, I guess, what the direction I really want my life to take versus just being focused on doing this one thing, you know?
Yeah.
So honestly, yeah, I think it was good for me.
Yeah, and I know it always is hard, because so many people have had such a hard time. So many people, lost loved ones and
Oh
things
my
like that.
gosh, yeah.
You have to put life in perspective. But I know that's been a real transition for me, was kind of, you get caught in the rat race of work and corporate life and moving up the ladder and all these things that for me, this was kind of the first time in my adult life where life forced me to take a break and reevaluate, hey, what's important to me? What do I want to do in a few years? Am I, are we building towards the future that we want to see for our life? And so, when I see people out there inspiring others to do that, I'm all for it.
Right.
A question I had about the bus that I like to ask is,
Yeah.
if you had to do it over again, would you buy the same size bus, bigger, smaller? Is there anything you'd do different?
Yeah, so I wouldn't change anything about the size. I really, really like the size. It's a 6 window bus, so it's not like this really small four. It's not a big full size. So it's a nice like happy medium where there's enough living space on the inside, but it's small enough on the outside that you can park it pretty much anywhere without a hassle.
That's
Um, yeah, it's awesome. But the one thing that I would definitely change is so I was looking forever because these shorter buses, the head clearance, it can range anywhere from like 5'10" to 6'4", and I'm about 6 foot, so I needed a 6'4". So I was messaging so many different people trying to figure out what size the bus was, and I found this one. It was 6'4", but the thing about it is it's 6'4" in the middle, but then this bus has such a large curve in comparison to some other buses.
Yours almost has like a subway look to it. It's really curved. And now with the shiplap, it looks great. But I know what
Yeah,
you're saying. I remember at first being like, I can't tell, is he going to need to do a roof raise or not? I wasn't sure if he
yeah,
was
I know.
going to end up doing it, but it's,
Yeah, the middle is great. Like I have plenty of head clearance still, but then yeah, like off to the side where I have my bathroom, I kind of have to stand. There's the shower, and I kind of have to stand over more toward the middle if I want to like actually be able to put my head under the faucet. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've been living tiny now for about 3 years, and you'll learn all the little sacrifices you do have to make along the way. But with the freedom and ability to travel, I do think just uh makes up for those little things you have to
oh
sacrifice.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, you know, as you've been through the building process, are there any lessons you've learned through the build? I mean, I know, to me, schoolies are almost the scariest. I mean, they're one of the big ones that it's not like renovating a trailer. You're straight gutting things out and building everything. So, are there some, like, learning things you've learned along the way, some tips or?
Yeah. I would say the absolute biggest thing for me, before doing this project, I would consider myself, still even right now, I would consider myself to be kind of an impatient person. Um, and that just goes completely out the window when you're doing this because there's so many things that just go wrong. Nothing works out right the first time. It's just like a very imperfect base, I guess, to start with too, because it's not like the people who built the bus, their intention wasn't for someone to gut it and then turn it into a home. Their intention was for kids to sit in it and go to school. So nothing is perfect with the build and the design of the actual frame. So,
Oh,
so
they
yeah,
cut every little thing kind of individually.
yeah, yeah. So that's definitely number one. Otherwise, I guess yeah, construction wise, going back and watching the first like 5 videos or so versus now, like it's crazy to see how far skills have come without even realizing, I guess, that they've
Yeah.
become a skill now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was noticed with your this last episode where you were putting in the cabinets there, having to cut those. I mean, it's almost like it reminds me of the old Airstreams, how they have to have those kind of real weird curved
Yeah.
cabinets. But yeah, the fact that you were able to figure that out, I was like, dang, that looks complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I love how they turned out, I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah, they look really
but
good, and that, they save quite a bit of space with
yeah.
being able to do it like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess just in general, patience and building would be the top two things that I've learned. I mean, otherwise, uh I guess even mechanics too, because I don't know how long you've been watching, but we had problems with the diesel line brake and
yeah,
everything too.
yeah.
So
Dude, that's a difficult one. I've seen that, and when people are messing with with the ACs, the AC
oh
line,
my gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
it seems like almost every time some form of issue comes.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing with schoolies, I guess, is just like you got to expect the unexpected. There's always going to be something that goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, yeah, old engines, there's a lot of times those things were ran, every day. Like they were just a lot of them
Mhm.
ran into the ground. The paint, I love the paint. I love the color choice. That green is such a good one. How's it holding up? I know with having to use the spray paint cans. I'm sure it won't have quite the life of some other stuff, but I love the color.
Yeah. So this actually, we use the paint cans because I went to a few different places to try to get quotes for colors, and um, one of the only places that we could really find like a green color that we liked was Sherwin-Williams Automotive, and they quoted like an outrageous number. I think it was like $800 or $900 per gallon, and I was like, I cannot afford that. There's no way.
Yeah, that
So
automotive paint is just insane.
yeah, it
I
was crazy.
I have an old truck out here that I wanted to paint, and I was going through the same thing and looking around. I found that the best bang for my buck was the Raptor liner that people do the back of trucks with. I ended up
Mhm.
just buying the kit and spraying the entire truck with that, and it was like the only way to kind of do the whole thing kind of cheap and
Right.
inexpensive. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I mean that's why we landed on the spray paint because we were like, I mean it'll work
yeah,
for a while at least. So it
yeah.
was like probably $350 total for the entire thing.
See, yeah, and if I mean, you could never even get close to that. If you tried, and especially if you even try to have it painted, oh my goodness, that would have cost as much as
Oh,
the bus. Um,
yeah.
one thing I was super impressed with was your guys' decision with the roof to change out from the plywood to the shiplap. Since being in that process, I know what it's like to buy stuff and then be like, man, I need to give up on this and switch to a new plan. So
Yeah, so that day, we painted the roof so we wouldn't have to do it while it was already attached. So we spent like 2 days or so painting the plywood, and then the day came to put it up, and I've seen videos of people online using plywood ceilings, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look that hard, and I didn't even like think about how curved my ceiling is in my bus. So we were trying to put it up, and I'm like resting it on my head. I'm like putting all of my strength on my tippy toes, trying to push it up so I can like screw it in and whatnot. And yeah, we just got to a point we had like two on or three on actually, I think. And the seam wasn't attractive to us at all, and we didn't want to cover it up with anything. So we just kind of sat there, and I was like, man, we just spent like a decent amount of money on this plywood, and I don't really want to have to change it out, but I think it's just going to look like garbage if we leave it. So we made the decision, yeah, to go with the tongue and groove, and I'm really glad we did. Really, really glad we did.
the reason why it's so funny to me is because we had to do that was one of the last things in the art studio was deciding what we were going to do for we had like roof beams, but we had to put some insulation up in between them. And I had did the same thing. I bought or not 2x4s, but sheets of plywood that I was going to cut up and install the insulation and put them up there. And then I had done all of it and going to install the first one, I was like, man, this just isn't going to work. So I ended up having to cut my losses, go by shiplap, and then run shiplap up in between them. So I had to do the same thing, and it killed me, it gutted me. It was like
I
just
know.
extra expense, but
Yeah.
and you made the right choice though, because it looks so good. It
Oh,
reminds
yeah.
me of like an old Victorian era. Um,
Yeah.
the way it's awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited with how it ended up turning out. And fortunately, I mean, I was able to use most of the plywood actually anyway for other projects in the bus, so it wasn't really a lost cause anyway.
Good.
But yeah, we're so excited with how it turned out because we're kind of going for. You'll see as we start, I guess, decorating and painting and whatnot, and finishing off the build. But we're kind of going for like, since it's an outdoor vehicle, we wanted it to be like an indoor outdoor space. So so for the ceiling we went with white, right? But we made sure that a little bit of the wood grain still peeks through, and we're gonna leave the gray screws because we think it looks pretty cool. It gives it kind of more of a rustic feel. And with the pallet boards in the back, then it's kind of that outdoorsy kind of feel. And then the kitchen will be green, and like an outdoorsy green. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's gonna look so good when it's done. I do love on that back wall. I love the palette that you guys did. There's such a good accent wall. It really brings a lot of life to the whole backside. And you know what? And the between the bed and the kitchen, how you have those things slanted down, really kind of helped open it up and not kind of cut off the bus.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that was kind of, it's a small space, so I wanted to keep it as open as possible and as light as possible. But I also wanted to kind of separate the bedroom from the rest of the bus because it's a home, so you want it to be homey as well. So that's why I went with the pallet boards, and the divider walls going that way, because the pallet board, that's the only place pallet boards will be. So it's just like only in the bedroom, and then the divider walls, I'm really really happy with how those turned out too.
Yeah, it looked like your choice for size was spot on because much smaller and you start having to make all kinds of compromises as far as your living situation. So the fact that you're still able to get full size bedroom in the back and then kind of still have your galley kitchen going through, and so that it's you definitely picked a good setup for it.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a build, it's always there's so many different ways you can do it, but certain ways are definitely a little more efficient than others when you have such a tiny place. Another question I have is I'm in California, so we live here. It's pretty warm, pretty decent weather most of the time. I was surprised. Actually, I was shocked at seeing how fast you were from like shorts, no shirt to like it seemed like a week later it was like jacket winter. It's about to snow. I was like, I couldn't believe the change in weather there.
Yeah, man, it's kind of crazy. I've always, over the last 5 years of me doing photography and whatnot, my mission and my goal has always been I need to get to the West Coast. Just I got to get out of this weather. But yeah, so this year was kind of weird. Normally we have like some sort of middle space, and this year I guess we kind of did have a fall, but the fall was like a little bit cooler than normal. But our snow came really quick, and now I don't know, where I live in Pennsylvania is really weird. So I'm about 45 minutes north of Philly, so I'm not like super northern Pennsylvania. So we get like weird. We'll either get a foot of snow or rain. Like we never really know what we're gonna get. So recently it's just been raining a lot. But yeah, working in the snow and the rain is it's tough.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it's just seeing how much effort. I imagine it takes a lot more effort. I know that was as I was finishing. I think I finished in like November, so not super cold, but it was just finally getting colder to where the last week or two, every morning when I got up and started working, it was just like, oh, this is a little
Yeah.
colder than I want it to be. So
It's super demotivating some days when you like right now today is like super gray out and just cold. So it's like, why do I want to go outside right now? But
yeah, that's how it's been here. We've had probably 2 weeks of it seems like almost rain or either dark or rainy since like a day or two before Christmas. It's just
yeah.
been so yeah, I know all of us are looking forward to the spring.
Oh my gosh, yeah, man, I can't wait. I mean, originally that was the other thing. I mean, when I bought it at the bus at the beginning of June. So my original plan was to be done by my birthday, which was November. And obviously, like, it just doesn't happen.
They
So
always say it takes twice as long and costs twice as much. And
exactly, yeah. So I was hoping to be done before winter. That was my original goal, and now here I am, and it's January in the middle of winter, and I'm pushing to try and finish it. But yeah,
yeah, what do you have a kind of tentative day you're hoping for now as you kind of got, get an idea of
yeah.
how fast it does move along?
I'm hoping for March, but I'm gonna say probably April.
Okay. Well,
Um,
hey, that's a
so
perfect time for
we'll
it to be
see.
done, though. The weather's just starting to get good. It's just starting to get time to actually, get the bus out there and see some places.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome timing. What kind of future destinations, projects, what things do you have coming up that you're excited for 2021 and beyond?
Yeah. So I don't really necessarily have anything planned. I don't know. I kind of, ever since I started my journey as a photographer, I just don't really plan for things, I guess, which I plan to a certain extent, but for the most part, I just let whatever happens happen while I'm traveling, and whatever feels right, like I'll go there, I'll stay there for a little bit longer or whatnot if I can. So I don't really necessarily have anything planned, but I know once the bus is done, we plan on taking a few short trips first just to kind of get a feel for it and make sure all the kinks are worked out and whatnot. So we're not like super far away, nowhere to work on it or whatnot.
Yeah, that's
Um,
smart to do a couple little weekend trips first
yeah.
and make sure all the
So
mechanics are working right.
exactly, yeah. So I think our plan is to go do a trip up to Maine first, maybe not first, but within the starting time period up to Maine. We'll probably go up into New York for a little bit, and then we want to go down to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee for a little trip as well.
Okay.
I was down there a couple of years ago. I love it down there. It's beautiful. So, and then after that, we'll see how timing will work out. But our plan is to head west for a while and hit some parks and
Okay.
live
Yeah.
out there.
So yeah, some beautiful national parks we have,
Yeah,
all over the West Coast and, Utah, Colorado. They got some great places to
yeah,
travel. Um, is
yeah. I love it out there, man.
what kind of I love that you have such a light attitude to the whole podcast, to everything, just your demeanor in life, and I really appreciate that about the channel.
Thank
You
you.
guys, as well as teaching people things and just kind of bringing people along the journey, just seeing people have a positive attitude out there and that just make it light. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I have things that get me like annoyed or upset or whatnot, but I try to not let them bother me just because I know, we only have one shot. That's like what Before I Die is all about. We only have one shot here on the planet. So why we get so consumed in trying to make sure everything is exactly, it's just like just gotta have some fun and enjoy what life really has to offer, I guess, and try and make money doing it at the same
Yeah,
time,
no, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I love what you're doing. With Before I Die, is there anything, if anyone's interested or wants to take a closer look at it, where can they find all that information at?
Yeah. So for Before I Die, the website is beforeidieofficial.com. So the goal with that, so there, you probably noticed there's the community tab, and then there's also the apparel tab, so the shop tab. So the community tab is something I'm really excited about, and hopefully we can grow that throughout this year and have a solid base of users on the community tab sharing their stories. The main idea behind all of it is just being able to share stories with other people and make connections, because personally I feel like everyone does have their own unique story and their own unique path in their life, and I think a lot of people can find inspiration from what other people have to say and what other people have gone through. So the community tab is a place where people can do that. They can share, they can comment, they can make friends with people and make deeper connections with people that are doing the same thing or something completely different than what they're doing, but they find interesting. So that's the really exciting part to me. And then the other part to me, the clothing, obviously. So um, when I was 18, 18, yeah, I'm 23 now. So when I was 18, I was in my freshman year of college, which I ended up not finishing school, but I started a clothing company and it obviously didn't work out, but I really enjoyed it. And I knew I always wanted to get back into clothing. So now I kind of want to create like a streetwear apparel brand based off of Before I Die. So the next launch will be sometime early February. I hope. I just completed the designs and ordered some samples and whatnot. So I'm excited.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good logo and a good anything that sparks somebody to ask a question. Hey, what's that about? You know, and I love that because, you know, right away, I think it just it sparks that. Like, what is that about? Tell me about that. So I think that's
Like,
awesome. I love that you're doing that.
yeah, thank you.
Is there all your socials? Is there anywhere else where if people want to find you, your Facebook, Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, so YouTube is my main thing right now. It's what I'm focusing on the most. It's just my name, Matthew Maderic. Instagram, I need to be posting more. That's kind of the common theme for all of my socials besides YouTube, but Matt Maderic on literally everything else. YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, and then also the Bus Stop Home is where only bus related content will be.